Hello and welcome back to another video. So we're out on foot again today. So yeah, still no van, I'm afraid. And I've got some pretty bad news about that as well, which we'll get onto in just a bit. To be honest, you know, it's been one of those weeks with one thing and another. So I thought I'd do what I always do when that happens. Just get outside, you know, and clear my head and just take some photos. And of course, share my thoughts as I go. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. And honestly, you know, there's no better place to do it than right here in this amazing woodland. It's just that time of year where everything feels really calming. So yeah, I'm hopeful we can take some photos and I can share my experience and my thought process with you today. And hopefully we can capture something decent. So one of the great things about shooting locally, which I'm doing quite a bit of at the minute because my van is off the road, is that you get to spend time learning about the locations and you get the opportunity to revisit those places at the optimal time of year for those subjects. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do here this afternoon. Now I've been walking for a little while today actually already, been looking at a few different places, didn't really find anything, but this was a spot I really wanted to visit today. Now we've got this panoramic viewpoint, if you will, that's a little bit more overgrown now than in recent years, but we still get an amazing view down the estuary here. And there's these amazing reed beds which stretch out along the floodplain here, and dotted around there's some wonderful oak trees, and they're very golden and vibrant right now, especially with this late afternoon light catching them. So the plan is to set the tripod up, get the telephoto lens on and see if I can pick out some intimate details here within this beautiful view. So let's get set up. So the 50 to 200 is on the tripod and I'm just basically panning around trying to pick out detailed shots within these trees here, which are situated in this amazing golden reed bed. And I'm hoping the light is just going to start catching some of the trees just to make that foliage pop a little bit. And I can see a patch of light coming now, so I'm going to react to that and see if I can maybe grab this first shot here of a lone oak tree which just is sitting on its own. Yeah, here comes the light now. Right, okay, I don't want to dwindle too long here. I want to make sure I get this framing just right. I'm going to experiment with a couple of different focal lengths. Let's grab one quickly. Oh, that light is fleeting. I'm at 125th of a second. I've got a couple of patterns within the reed bed here. There's a bit of a gap where a little bit of water just flows through a channel, and that just is giving us a little bit of separation. So I'm working on that at the minute, and then I might zoom in a little bit closer and just try to pick out that lone tree on its own. So it's a little bit more of a simpler composition, but that light is gone right now. So it'll give me a bit more of a moment to chat. Sometimes when that light is fleeting, you've got to make the most of it. So I think what I'm going to do here is just play around with a few different compositions with the telephoto lens. Telephoto lenses are fantastic for this type of photography because they allow you to pick out different vignettes of the landscape and really, yes, allow you to be creative from one spot. I mean, here I can't move left or right. I can't really move up or down. I've really just got to peer over the top of this foliage here across this floodplain. So yeah, just a case of playing around with different focal lengths and seeing what I can get as that light changes. Anyway, I'll put these images up now and yeah, we'll go and see what else we can find. So, about the van, yeah, it's been a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. In last week's video I mentioned there were some oil leaks, and the leaks are coming from the rear and front crankshaft, the prop shaft, the dipstick and the frost plug somewhere on the engine. So yeah, pretty much all over the place, which really is not good, obviously. Now I did get a quote from the Toyota dealership and they came back with a grand sum of £3,460, which, to be honest, I just can't afford right now, mainly because I've pretty much already invested so much this year in the van itself, you know, converting the van, some new equipment, and also refurbishing my office, mainly to try and make these videos as entertaining and as, you know, valuable as I possibly can for everybody that watches. Now, after the engine inspection was completed, I asked if it was safe to drive, and the response was basically just keep an eye on the oil levels and get it booked in as soon as you can possibly afford it and get the work done. So I had to drive it the next day to a local one-to-one workshop, and on the way back, literally out of nowhere, this huge cloud of smoke or steam started pouring out of the engine bay. And honestly, it scared the flipping life out of me, to be honest. I didn't really know what to do, but luckily, as soon as I switched the engine off, it stopped. So I knew it wasn't on fire, so I had a quick look round and let it cool down and then continue to drive it. But what I did do was, because I was so close to the Toyota garage, I just drove it there. I was only like about a mile away, so I just literally left it there. It was about 9 o'clock at night, and then the next day I took the keys in and explained what had happened, and it's been sitting there ever since. Now, at this point, everything is kind of pointing towards the head gasket failing. Now, if this is correct, it's just going to obviously add to the huge list of problems that we've already got. So I think with all the leaks and now this possible new problem, it looks like it's probably going to be an engine replacement, which might be the best option, which, you know, based on online quotes, is probably going to be at least double or even maybe triple the original quote if I go with the main Toyota dealer. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way forward at the minute. Really, at this stage, I don't really know. So yeah, with all that going on, it's looking like the van is definitely going to be off the road for quite some time, at least until I can save enough to maybe get a replacement engine sorted out, which is absolutely gutting, really, because as you might know, the van is a huge part of what I do. It's how I get to these locations. It's where I make my coffee, edit my photos, and of course sleep when I'm further afield as well. And honestly, after spending so much time converting it, I'm just, yeah, absolutely flipping gutted, to be honest. I think it's time to see if we can make some more photos and just, yeah, refresh, have a bit of a reset. Yeah, let's get going. So I did continue my walk. In fact, I covered about 8 miles during the afternoon exploring different parts of that woodland. And although I found some nice areas to revisit, the conditions, I guess, just weren't quite right for the specific compositions I'd found. But it definitely wasn't a wasted trip, because I was definitely going back to some of those locations. Now, in terms of the telephoto images I captured at that viewpoint, I don't think I quite got the light in the right spot. Most of the shots kind of felt a little bit flat, so I don't think I really made the best of that location at that moment. But I have taken a couple of nice shots that I'm really happy with during a few recent workshops that I've been running, which I'll share with you in just a bit. But I just wanted to talk about using the telephoto lens in an environment such as the woodland and how it can help to simplify a scene and make it feel less cluttered. Because, as you probably know, if you've dabbled in woodland photography yourselves, you know, simplifying the chaos is one of the most challenging things, isn't it? So I captured a shot here that hopefully demonstrates what I mean. So this first shot at 70mm in a full frame field of view is definitely not a wide angle shot, but I'm actually fairly close to the tree here. And because I'm so close to it, the tree itself is towering above me. Now, I'm terrible at drawing, but hopefully this emphasizes my point so you can see my angle of view. So here's the tree, and this is where I was positioned. So I'm looking straight up at the tree here. So now let's compare that with this shot here, which is a similar framing, but I've backed up considerably, probably about 100 meters or so, and I've zoomed into a 400mm full frame field of view. And you can see how different the scene looks. It's much calmer, there's less distracting sky, and it's closed all of those little gaps up in the foliage, which were, I guess, distracting in the wider shot. So there's a few things going on here. Now, the first one is the angle, because we are much further back. The angle of view isn't anywhere near as steep, meaning we're not pointing directly up to the sky, we're pointed almost horizontally towards the tree. And this allows us to eliminate a lot of the sky from the shot, which is one of the biggest issues with exposing woodland scenes. Typically, I've found the sky is very bright and the understory is usually quite dark, and often exposure blending is really difficult since most of the time the foliage is moving around. So it can be very challenging to shoot a woodland scene when there's a bright sky in the frame. So yeah, backing up and zooming in is a great way to eliminate the sky from your shot. The other thing that's happening here as well is compression. So the objects that are further away in the wider shot are brought further forward into the scene with the telephoto one. And again, this helps to close the gaps up in the foliage. You can really see this over here on the left actually. This section here, which fills the frame in the zoomed in shot, is way down here in the wider shot. So yeah, that compression can really help block out unwanted things from your scene. Another thing is how shapes are changed as well. And this actually surprised me quite a bit. Now look at the branch over here on the right hand side in the zoomed in image compared to the wider one. See how the curve of the branch is completely different. So again, this can definitely impact your composition quite a bit. Now, I'm definitely not suggesting that wider shots don't work in woodland photography. They 100% definitely do. But if you're struggling to eliminate certain distracting elements from your composition and you have this, I guess, the space to walk back and zoom in, then this can be a great option and can give you a completely different take on the same scene. So yeah, just some food for thought there. And this doesn't just work for woodland, it's pretty much relevant for all types of photography really. So I've just got a couple of shots to share with you first before I head off. But here's the first one, which is a place I've visited many times, but I think this is probably the best conditions I've had at that particular location. And the added bonus as well, I had a client with me as well on a one-to-one. So yeah, that was obviously nice as well. But we've been shooting the location for about 20 minutes or so, and nothing, really had happened. It was quite flat and the clouds were pretty average. But then all of a sudden, the clouds broke and this amazing shaft of light lit up the background, enhancing the watchtower there in the foreground, which really suited a dramatic, moody black and white image, I think. So I think this is the perfect example of patience paying off. So yeah, if you keep visiting a location that has got potential, at some point you will be rewarded. That is guaranteed. It's just a case of repetition. Now, this shot as well was taken on another one of my workshops, this time in waterfall country, and we had some really wet weather most of the afternoon, but this was captured on a very fleeting break in the clouds, which lightly backlit the golden foliage, which I was really pleased with. Now, I've shot this waterfall numerous times, but on this visit there was a fallen log in the foreground, which has not been there on previous visits. So yeah, I think this was a nice addition to the composition, and it's something I've been working on for a long time now. Again, emphasising the point that patience is key in landscape photography. So yeah, I hope you like those photos, which hopefully highlight the point that patience will eventually pay off. Anyway, thanks again so much for watching, and yeah, thanks again in advance if you do feel like getting involved with helping me out with the van. Anyway, thanks again for your support, and I do hope to see you again next week.